Welcome to another episode of Missionary Moneymaker, Why Making a Dime is Making a Difference. I'm your podcast host, Carl James Winn Jr. Thank you for tuning in today. Today, we're going to talk about positive influence, aiming your power on purpose in 2026 in the marketplace. And what we're going to talk about first is influence. Listen, influence is power. Influence is not popularity, it's not attention. Influence is power that produces change. And as believers, power is never neutral, it must be stewarded. So, as I was planning this episode, I learned so much about influence and, more importantly, about positive influence. And one of the things I didn't realize is that when I first created the 3 P's of transformation, as you recall over the last couple episodes, it's been passive impact, passive income, now positive influence. Now, positive influence has blown my mind just because I've been studying it. And it is a powerful concept that if we leverage in 2026, we're going to make an impact. We're going to strategically expand God's kingdom in 2026. So let's reflect back on the last 4 weeks. The first week is vision, mission, goals. We talked about how clarity precedes expansion. So if we're going to expand in 2026, we have to have clarity. Week 2, we talked about passive impact, how it creates value. Create value once that keeps on serving. And we outlined several passive impact sources that you can leverage. And then week 3, we talked about passive income, how money is a measurement of the value you create, not your identity. Because so many Christians, they tie their identity and their worth to money. But money is only a tool. It is a tool that measures the value that you've created for others. And that leads us to week 4, positive influence. And going back to influence, let me make sure that this is clear. God has given you, which means he has entrusted you and me with responsibility when we think about influence. No matter what your role may be, no matter what your title is, no matter what domain you may be working in, no matter what industry you're working in, whatever niche you're working in, you have influence and you are called by God to steward it well. God will hold us responsible for how we influence, how we steward the influence he entrusted to us. Don't let the music die with you. I've had several conversations with Christians about wanting to write a book. And I always like to tell them, don't let the music die with you. So I've put together this resource called 5 Steps to Discovering Your Unique Book Idea. It's a free resource that if you download and get started with writing a book. As Zig Ziglar once said, you don't have to be great to start, but in order to be great, you must start. So if you want to write a book, you got to start somewhere. We've put together this resource because I believe, and I know for a fact, writing a book has been one of the ways that I've been able to increase my income, my impact, and my influence. And I want that to be the same for you. And I believe that you have a book inside of you that if you write it, you're going to bless the world through it. So go ahead and download this PDF. The link will be in the show notes. And I just want to hear about your book. Let's go do it. And so remember this: impact creates value. Income measure values. Influence directs value. So let me unpack influence. Influence is this: power that affects, shapes, persuades, or controls. Influence causes something to happen. Right now, I'm causing something to happen by me talking. That's influence. Or if I picked up this pen and I wrote on here, on this paper that I'm holding in my hand, that would be influence. It's causing a change. And guess what? That's what we have. It causes change. As we think about a biblical lens, listen, power without stewardship becomes abuse. Stewardship without focus becomes waste. So we have to understand this power, and we have to steward it well so that we don't abuse it and we don't misuse it. Stewardship helps us focus so that we won't waste it. Don't let the music die with you. I've had several conversations with Christians about wanting to write a book. And I always like to tell them, don't let the music die with you. So I've put together this resource called 5 Steps to Discovering Your Unique Book Idea. It's a free resource that if you download and get started with writing a book. As Zig Ziglar once said, you don't have to be great to start, but in order to be great, you must start. So if you want to write a book, you got to start somewhere. We've put together this resources because I believe, and I know for a fact, writing a book has been one of the ways that I've been able to increase my income, my impact, and my influence. And I want that to be the same for you. And I believe that you have a book inside of you that if you write it, you're going to bless the world through it. So go ahead and download this PDF. The link will be in the show notes. And I just want to hear about your book. Let's go do it. Listen, no matter where you are as a believer, you have influence. Don't waste it. God has given you a position. He has given you a title. He has put you in a particular industry for a reason. Use it for His glory. So what the next thing we need to do before we get into the points is that we need to define what is positive. Positive means certain, absolute, decisive, direct. So positive influence is aimed, it's intentional, and it's targeted. So for example, if you've been following along with me, I share with you my goal is in 2026 is to help 10,000 Christians write and publish a book. It's a clear audience, it's a clear outcome, and a clear direction. And so this isn't exclusion, it's focus. Because some people might say, Carl, don't you think that's limiting, that you're only focusing on Christians? Well, I would say, yes, it's limited, but it's limited on purpose. It's limited on purpose, not because I don't care about non-believers. It's not that I don't care about it, I don't love them, but I have a clear focus. That's why this title of this podcast is called Missionary Moneymakers, Why Making a Dime is Making a Difference, because I'm aiming at Christians. My goal with this podcast is to deploy Christians into the marketplace as missionaries. So it's focused, and it's focused for a reason. If we're going to have, if we're going to expand God's kingdom in the marketplace, we must have positive influence in 2026. And so these are the points that I want you to take away if you're going to have positive influence in 2026. The first thing is you need to leverage the power of no. No stands for navigating opportunities. And it's a framework that I created to help me, first of all, think about how can I leverage the resources God has given to me, the time, the talent, the treasures, the trust which all their relationships. How do I leverage that? Because one of the things that I realize is that I have limited resources just as well as you. And so remember, we have 8,736 hours next year in 2026. I don't get more, I don't get less. So I need to be strategic on how I use that limited time that God has given me to make an impact. So I need a framework for evaluating where I'm going to give my resources so that I can make sure that I'm a good steward of my influence. And that's where positive influence comes in. Remember, positive means direct, it means decisive, it means that it's aimed. So I'm aiming my influence, which is power, to affect change at a particular area. And I need a framework to help me to say no. And no gives me leverage because it's defined, it's direct, and I know why I'm saying no. Because I've already put a framework together. I got a vision, I got a mission, I got goals. I know what I'm aiming at. When somebody brings me an opportunity, because guess what? 2026, a lot of opportunities are going to come knocking on our doors, and we need a framework to say no. We need a framework to say no so that we can make sure we're saying yes to the right things that helps us steward the resources well that God has given us. So no longer do I get upset when people tell me no. Maybe they taken time to identify why they're saying no. Or sometimes they say not now. And I can respect that because I know that we all have limited resources and we want to be good stewards over there. I've been reading a book called Wealthy and Well Known by Rory and AJ Vaden. This is one of the quotes. It says, "Diluted focus produces diluted results." So you want to make sure you have your positive influence aimed properly so that you can have focus. You don't want to have diluted focus because you're going to get diluted results. And I'm telling that to myself because guess what? I like opportunities. I like doing things, but I need to be disciplined so that I can say no so that I can have focus. And when I have focus, I don't have diluted results anymore, but I have focused results that shown that I've invested my resources properly. And so why no protects influence? One is you can't fire one arrow at two targets. Two, focus turns influence into force. Think about that. Focus turns influence into force. The second thing that we need to do if we're going to expand God's kingdom in the marketplace in 2026 and aim our influence, we have to reflect on the past. We got to reflect on 2025 in order for us to prepare for 2026. One of my books that I wrote last year is called Nothing is a Waste. Leverage the Past, Improve the Future. What that book tells us is that the past is a resource to help us improve the future. So we need to make sure that we're reflecting on 2025. So if you're listening to this podcast before 2026, 2025 ends, and before 2026 begin, you need to make sure you have allocated time these last few weeks of 2025 to do some reflection. The reality is this, is that we have to diagnose 2025 and determine what it is that we need to do for 2026. And I like what John Maxwell said. He said experience is not the best teacher, but evaluated experiences is the best teacher. So evaluate your experiences in 2025 and determine what 2026 is going to look like. What did I learn in 2025? I want to let you know about another resource we have. It's called How to Write a Book in a Day. If you go to carlwinn.com, we have a resource for you to write your book. And guess what? It's not going to take 2 months, 3 months, but we have a template laid out so that you can do it in a day. If you go through, you'll be able to see what all we have available so that you can do it. This is the same framework that I've used to write 5, 6, 7, 8 books of my own. If you've been thinking about, I want to write a book, this is your opportunity to do that. So go to carlwinn.com. You can see what it all offers and go ahead and get the course and write your book, because I want to buy it. I want to read it. But also there's some other person that needs your book. That is a resource for you. God bless you. And let's get back to the show. Maybe you're a tradesperson. Precision matters. Aim your trade at a particular issue in the trade. Writers, make sure your audience is clear. Get clarity on your audience because it matters. And challenge yourself to stop trying to serve everyone. Stop trying to influence everyone. Start stewarding your influence to someone, to a particular niche. So I want to challenge you to these action steps. 1, name your target. 2, clarify your audience. 3, decide what you will say no to and do it with confidence. 4, aim your influence with faith and focus. If God has entrusted you with influence, is refusing to aim at obedience or avoidance? Let that sit with you. I know I'm letting it sit with me. I'm evaluating, how am I going to give of myself in 2026? How am I going to aim the time that God has given me, the resources? Remember this, positive influence isn't about doing more. It's about aiming your God-given power with focus, stewardship, and faith to expand the kingdom in the marketplace. So, with that being said, I want to encourage you to go ahead. If you've been thinking, I need clarity on this, I need to get clarity in 2026. I need to get clarity of what happened in 2025. I'm here to help you. I've even created a resource called Clarifying Your Calling. And I'll have the link in the description where you can book a call with me so we can talk through how can we we help you get clarity in 2026. Because I want to help you, my brother and sisters in Christ. And as always, if this podcast has blessed you, definitely like it, share it, and leave a comment so I can know how it's influencing your life, that is impacting you. Other than that, God bless you. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.